you. Welcome, Elliot. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, I heard that. I've seen that you have a podcast as well.
We do, yeah. James Landry and I started one for Novo, and we're calling it the Business of Music podcast.
Oh my God, that sounds so interesting. Love it. I can't wait to hear you.
Oh yeah, check it on out, and you can really get a full hour of me rambling on and on. So if you make it through the whole thing, then you are a trooper.
Just want to get started by the Novo. I want you to tell, how did you get started by the Novo, with the Novo, because I know that you were a musician.
Yes, I was. Yeah. So I started Novo Agency with my business partner, James Landry, probably like somewhere in 2017. It was kind of like an idea. Then it kind of like became like a side hustle, and then eventually kind of became like, our full-time thing. But the reason James and I started doing work together, like in the first place, was when I was still making and marketing my own music. I was his first client when he was a manager. So he had finished law school and wanted to get into the world of being an agent or being a manager or something like that. And we went to college together. So he was like, well, who do I know that I could make a case study out of? And he came to one of the parties my friends and I had, and he came to us mid-party and was like, guys, I got to tell you something. And I was like, okay, let's talk about it tomorrow. And then, yeah.
So basically see you as your manager.
That's how it all kind of started. And then, I had a lot of experience with making and marketing my own music and, booking a handful of shows over the course of a few years. And I did maybe 30 shows or something like that over the course of 5 years. So nothing crazy, but paid shows, fun shows. And we had something going on, and he did have, something to manage. And him being an attorney, where I had the music and the marketing kind of side of things, he had a lot of the business and the law things and a lot of the details that me and musicians often tend to overlook or ignore.
Yeah.
And so he taught me a lot of things about why an LLC is important. And even though music is a really fun hobby and it's something I don't consider a job, it is still considered a business in the eyes of the government and the IRS. So the IRS lets you, track. You don't need to be making money in order to be tracking expenses and getting certain tax rebates and things like that. So yeah, so things like that, where he kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things that I was overlooking before. And then over time, we just worked together, and we eventually I grew out of making a lot of my own music. And I still really liked music and still wanted to help people. And I had a few younger people that I knew would come and ask me for help. And then we would get James on a call every now and again.
Oh my God, I love
it. So it kind of just became, we're wait a minute, we could probably take a lot of what I've learned and do some sort of consulting thing where we teach artists how to avoid the mistakes that I made.
Yeah.
And then it kind of became what it is today, where we have over the years, I had found a bunch of curators on Spotify that have, legit playlists, some of them small, some of them big, but legit.
Correct.
And so after meeting a bunch of those folks, we had our own little insight. We kind of just put two and two together, and now we're able to help artists kind of get somewhat of an audience, start getting some data pouring in, and have some idea. Okay, look, it looks like 22-year-olds in New York City are listening to me. Okay, cool. Now I have some idea where to run an advertisement, and then we kind of teach them how to do it and how to set up the infrastructure to a music business. Let them do the music. You make whatever music you want, but we can help you set up the business that it's sitting on top of.
How do you spot a scammy business? I want you to tell the musicians that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm a musician. I was marketing my own tunes for a long time. And if you're a musician trying to market your tunes, I bet we're alike in that we have all been scammed at least once, or fallen victim to somebody who you were okay, I'm kind of skeptical, but I'll give it a try. And then 2 days later, you're I was right. I should have never trusted this guy. Each promoter is like their own business. So even though there are good ones, but it's, you know, there's kind of like there's no regulating body of this industry. Like some people are just shady, and some it's in terms of like making a bot, just like Instagram, like we all have seen accounts where like you find, yeah, and they got 50,000 followers, and the last video they posted yesterday had 18 views on it. Like, cool. With like the eye test, you can be like, these are clearly fake, or like your Instagram's broken, bro. I don't know what happened.
But it's easy to tell because you see the followers, and then you see pictures without any pictures and weird names, and so it's very easy to spot, you know. And that's how they boost basically this fake and, you know, scammy. They boost your listeners, right?
Right. Oh, big time. And what they wanted, because a lot of artists want to look like they have a following, and they want to jump a step, and they don't want to build a following. They want to look like they have a following. So it's really enticing when some website says for $99, we'll guarantee you get 25,000 monthly listeners. And it's, the thing is, when it comes to spammy Spotify in particular, give it the eye test. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, number one. Number two, if they say, give us $50 and you'll make $65 in royalties. No, that's not how it works, because if somebody had some sort of legit system that way, why would I share it?
Yeah.
If it only costs me, because you know that they're selling it to you for 65, that means hypothetically it costs them 30. But if it is generating $65, why would I share that? I got the oil well right here. Go away. It's all mine. That doesn't make any sense. So give it the eye test. If it seems too good to be true, it is. If they're saying that they can have or they have some sort of partnership directly with Spotify playlists, meaning like Rap Caviar or like any editorial playlist, that's not true. Spotify doesn't open that up to like the public. And if it is, if some guy was kind of in the works and it was legit, they would not be advertising it because they would get fired. Spotify is a publicly traded company. Sony can buy parts of Spotify right now. They own, I think, like 12%, something like that. So like, it's not pay to play directly, but it's kind of like, hey, nudge, nudge. Hey, we own 12% of your company. It'd be really great if, you know, our artist was in Rap Caviar next week, and they go, yeah, let's see what we can do, kind of thing. So no third-party company, no guide, nobody has direct access to the editorial playlists that they're selling some sort of service with. If they do, it's very hush-hush. It's behind the scenes. It's not marketing. It's like, hey, okay, I'll do you a favor because I have an in here, but you have to shut up about it. So that's a big one. And then just the guarantees in general. Think about it. If you have a playlist and it's legit and it's 50,000 people are on your playlist, how can I guarantee that a certain number of them, an exact number of them, will listen to your song?
Yeah, there's no way.
No, because a stream is only counted after 30 seconds. So even if I can't guarantee that everyone on the playlist is going to be active that month. There's a lot going on in the world. Maybe they're not looking for music right now. We've seen that a lot recently.
Yeah.
But if the guarantees are like, we guarantee you'll get exactly 20,000 streams and at least 500 follows and at least 250 saves, how can you guarantee that? Because what if the song is garbage? What if the song is fantastic? Is it going to get 3,000 saves, or does it get exactly 1,500? That's weird.
Yeah, and for the Novo, for example, when they want to work with you, they have to submit first your music so that you can analyze if you can work with it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because the way that De Novo works is we partner with these playlister people. Mm-hmm. So they're all like their own separate business. And the line that they're walking is their business is an audience. They have a playlist. So they're in the business of keeping their audience happy. Yeah. They're like a micro Spotify. Mm-hmm. If they start putting just any old song in there and their audience says, what is this? And they stop coming, they don't have anything of value anymore. So the line that these curators have to walk is okay, well, I need to have enough of music in here that I have curated like myself to like make sure that this playlist is decent. But I'm also going to open up 40% of the slots to people who are willing to pay, but I'm still going to screen them. It's not a first come, first serve. Whoever wants in gets in, because we have to walk the line of keeping the audience of the playlists happy and coming back, because if we just throw hot garbage in there for 3 months, then in 3 months, no one's going to be listening to it. And oh shit, we're out of work.
Yeah. To get an editorial playlist, you know, there's a submission, but they're not going to accept you if you're not big in Spotify. So you have to build that credibility first. You have to build your following. You have to build your listeners, right? Can you explain a little bit of that?
Yeah. So I would say you don't necessarily have to be big, but you have to have enough engagement that Spotify can start to see, oh, okay, this song is a value add for people who seem to like this kind of music. So the editorial playlists and the algorithm don't listen to your song. They analyze the data of the people who are listening. So they don't hear a song and say, wow, this sounds like a Jennifer Lopez song. They, over time, analyze the data from the people who are listening. And if the data suggests that people who also like Jennifer Lopez seem to like you, that's how it learns that Jennifer Lopez is a similar artist to you. So whereas algorithmic playlists like Discover Weekly and Release Radar, each individual user on Spotify has their own unique Release Radar and Discover Weekly, meaning I have my Discover Weekly, you have yours.
Yeah. Based
on your listening habits will be different than mine. Mine probably has some weird artists you have never heard of. But an editorial playlist, like the biggest one everyone seems to know is Rap Caviar. That's an editorial playlist. If you and I each go on Rap Caviar, we will see the same Rap Caviar. So anyone can search it and find it, and it will be the same for everyone, whereas Discover Weekly, mine and yours, will be different.
Do you have any client who was an editorial who got it?
Yeah, so like there are smaller editorial playlists that have 15 or 20,000 listeners. Yeah. Like it's not 0.002 million. So there are some small ones, and the way it works is typically you get this. Sometimes you get people who catch it right away. For some reason, the algorithm can determine it's a value add quickly.
You just have to submit it.
That very likely is very likely to not happen. So
yeah, and how do you make it happen?
The way you make it happen is if it's your first song, you have zero chance unless you have it in and you know somebody, you're at a label or something, somebody knows you and they say, this girl's gonna be good, let's put her here. That's a different story. If you're just somebody on the internet recording in your house and it's your first song, I would say have a 0% chance of getting on an editorial playlist, because they don't know who there are 40,000 songs uploaded on Spotify a day. They do not need to look very hard to find songs that are decent, songs that are good. So they don't. Why would they waste the time digging for what they need to do is, what you need to do as an artist is, if you can generate some sort of traffic, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 monthly listeners, enough where Spotify can start to understand, hey, people who are 20 to 25 in Houston and Dallas and Phoenix seem to like this girl for some reason. We don't know yet, but let's test this market a little bit and see if this music is indeed a value add. And they'll test it by putting in maybe 500 Discover Weekly playlists of people who fit that description. And if they see that, wow, 309 of them saved the song, we're on to something here. Okay, this song is a value add for people that like this, that fit this description. And then they might go 5,000. And that could happen over the course of 3 months. It could happen in 3 days. If Spotify gets a ton of data, can quickly learn who you're a value add for, they will spread it quickly. But generally it takes time, because you need to give it the data that it needs to kind of feed on.
And be consistent, right?
Well, yes, you need to be consistent, but one of the biggest things that I try to get across to musicians is consistency doesn't exclusively mean new music every 2 weeks.
Okay.
You need to consistently be generating engagement,
No matter
but
if
it
it's an
doesn't
old song.
at the very beginning. If you're Russ, if you're someone who has 1 million people following you, no, you probably can't market a song you put out last year. But if you're at the
Okay.
beginning and you're kind of looking to acquire a target audience that you then over time make a fan base out of, think of it as like if you work at Nike and you have a new pair of sneakers out right now and you have 10 advertisements that you've made for these sneakers, and you test the market a little bit on all 10 advertisements. If advertisement number 3 and number 7 get the most clicks and the most sales, but they're old, if they were made 6 months ago, it's not, do you really care? No, because it's about the results.
Yeah.
So if you have 5 or 7 songs out and you've kind of tested a little bit and you're starting to see, hey, you know what? Song number 4 always gets more saves. People seem to like this one. Well, then for now, take advantage of the data that Spotify is showing you. And if it's saying, hey, the iron is kind of hot here, rather than saying, okay, let's keep throwing out new songs and see what sticks. You have one that's sticking a little bit. Let's put more fuel behind this song so that if we can get Spotify's attention with it, we can start getting on 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Discover weekly playlists. Now we have an audience, some sort of audience, to then release new music to. And a lot of musicians, they like, yeah, well, consistency is key. And I'm like, correct. But consistency doesn't exclusively mean new music every 2 weeks for the sake of being new, you know?
Yeah, and that's one of the questions. What is something that pisses you the most, and a mistake that musicians constantly do when they release music? One of the you can mention a couple that they keep making the same mistakes. What are some common mistakes and things that really pisses you?
Well, I think I don't necessarily get pissed because I've made the mistakes too. And I know what it's like. And like, I've made the mistake long enough and I'm old now so that like, I can like teach you young kids not how to not do it like I did. Like, nope, that's a mistake. And let me tell you why, because I did this, this, and this. Turns out I should have done this. And here's why. But that's a lot of what the consultation calls are like here at De Novo. It's like, I did something similar to this. Let me give you my 2 cents. It didn't work out for this reason. Because I've made a lot of mistakes. It's all trial and error. Nobody, if there was a golden book that well, step 1, do this. And okay, by the time you get to step number 10, you'll have a big famous music career. Like there is no, so like 1, you got to find what works for you. Yeah. And like, if you're really good at making videos on Instagram, like stick to that for now. Like, you don't necessarily need to learn how to, I got to pick up Twitter. Like, yeah, get familiar with it. But like, if you're good at what you do on one area, just triple down on it for now. Get some sort of something going where now you say, okay, I got something going. Okay, cool. Now, okay, I'll find somebody to do my Twitter for me or like something. And right now, if you're at the beginning, you're at the stage where it is the time to experiment. You're not in front of 1 million people. And if you like mess up with a video or something that like people are going to go, oh, haha, or you're going to become some sort of meme. Like now is the time to kind of throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks. And like over time, you'll start to be like, you know what? I seem to be good at this, this, and that. I'm going to do more of what I'm good at instead of trying to do everything a little bit. I'm going to do what I'm good at a lot.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you something. How can an artist get more pre-save? Is there any promotion method to get pre-save before the release or any kind of pre-promotion before the release?
Yeah, so this actually ties hand in hand with focusing on old music first. Okay. So a lot of times if you're doing a pre-save, you have to upload it at least 30 days in advance. And if that's the case, that means it's going to be available for a pre-save for, 30 days or so. What I would do is as soon as it's live, I would overlap the promotion. And I mean, through the prism of our program of how we work on Spotify, if you know that the pre-save is essentially your landing page, you want to get people to your landing page to hit that save button. Well, to me, the best advertisement to get somebody to a landing page on Spotify is if you promote an old song, and if it's in a playlist and somebody hears it on shuffle and they go, I like this song. Who's this chick? And they hit your profile. The first thing they're going to see is new song coming out in 3 weeks or whatever. Do you want to save? And they're going to go, oh,
okay.
You know, that's the theory. I'm sure it happens 6% of the time or something low, but like consider going to Instagram. You post a picture of your album cover and it says song coming out next month, pre-save now on Instagram. Those are really ineffective because like you might get some overall engagement on Instagram, but in terms of like conversion into a listener, it's very low because they're on Instagram. That means they're in Instagram mode. They're not necessarily looking for new music. Like they don't know who you are. So like they don't necessarily give a damn when your song is coming out. If I saw an Eminem ad or whatever, I'm a big Eminem fan. Like I would be like, oh sweet, his new song, I'm going to pre-save because like I know him, I'm a fan already.
Yeah.
If you're someone, if I don't know who you are, like why, like the ad, I almost say, why are you telling me about a song that's coming out next month if you have songs out now? Like get me to listening to you now so that I just naturally want to check out your pre-save.
Yeah, that's also another thing that I found out, that on Instagram, like promoting on Instagram, I didn't see that much results. I didn't see people clicking that much. The result that I've seen on Instagram is, for example, if you do an appealing video, okay, because Instagram, it's all about look, it's all about appealing more than audio.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like eyes and ears, attention in general is what you're going for as an independent artist. And like, you can't like ignore Instagram. I think you can promote your brand. Like you said, you can promote yourself on Instagram, but it's tough to promote your song on Instagram if you don't really have a following. If you have 30,000 passionate followers on Instagram, you can promote your audio to them because they're a fan of you. When they hear it, they're willing to go, oh, sweet, his new song or her new song, I'm going to check it out because I'm already a fan. Yeah. But if you're new, somebody brand new, they don't care.
Like the key for people to listen to your music, it's basically triggering the algorithm, basically, right?
I think that's like the gatekeeper between like, you know, having something small going on and having something going on. Because if you can create enough of your own buzz, whether it's, I don't know how, I don't care how, you're getting blog articles, you have people who make playlists, you're playing shows, whatever it is to generate enough data that Spotify on a whole can see, wow, this person has something going on and it's a value add for people who look like this. And Spotify's whole business model is to get music to people and have the people like that music without them having to look for it.
Correct.
So the algorithm is literally putting songs on a platter and going, this platter is tailored to you. Check it out. And Spotify's business is if that person Discover Weekly and Release Radar each have 30 songs, I think, no matter what. So if the person has 30 songs and then they check it out on shuffle and they go through and they listen, they go, you know, I loved 22 of these songs. Wow, I can't wait till next week. That's their business. If at the end of Discover Weekly, somebody goes, I like 2 or 3 of those. Are they going to be pumped about Discover Weekly next week? Not really. So that's Spotify's entire value add right there. Because if hypothetically Spotify and Apple Music were purely just places where all of this music was available, and that's it, then it wouldn't be like 80-20 Spotify, Apple Music. It'd be like 60-40, maybe 50-50. Because if all it is this music is available, like, okay, I can find whatever song I want. Nice. But that's not what it is. Spotify has all the music available, but what it does is it analyzes your listening habits and gives you a sophisticated, unique menu of songs that you in particular are going to like, or that they think that you're going to like. And then when you listen to it, you go, well, I did like 20 of those. Generating enough information where the algorithm starts to see, 20-year-olds in Phoenix who listen to Jennifer Lopez seem to like her. let's find more people that seem to be like this, because this song is a value add. And we're in the business of spreading value.
What would be the best advice that you can give to musicians?
Be willing to try new things in both the music and how you market it. And don't go in blind, and don't release music over and over and over again for the sake of being new without a plan. And the best time to release a song is when you have a plan and a budget to make it successful. It doesn't matter what day of the week or the third Tuesday of November is the best time. It doesn't matter. If you don't have a plan and don't have a budget, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I see a lot of artists that are in labels and all that, but actually they do not have a lot of streams. Most of the mistakes also that I think that a lot of artists do is that they are hungry to get in a label, and nowadays label don't care anymore about you.
It is. And the more you can build up yourself now, and the more you can build up the metrics and the data to then use as leverage with these recording companies or whoever it is. If you have data, you have leverage. And if you have leverage, you have options. And if you don't have leverage, any deal you're going to get is a take it or leave it kind of deal, because you don't have any leverage.
What do they do then, the record labels today? They just take artists that are already developed, right?
Pretty much. Record labels are essentially banks now. They loan you in advance, and then they do the math on how much they can make if you do X, Y, and Z sales. If we give them this much money up front, we're going to get this much money in return, just like a bank. You want a mortgage? Here's $500,000, but it's going to cost you $200,000 to get it over the course of 30 years. So what record labels do now is they do not find a diamond in the rough and develop an artist out of nothing. They're not in the business of making something out of nothing. They are in the business of taking something and multiplying it by 50. But when they do that, if they get something and multiply it by 50, that means they can do that with 50 artists, and they can strike out 48 times and like make their money back. You only need, if one makes, okay, cool. And that's what they're doing. Let's sign 50 people who are all got something going on, seem somewhat talented. And if 2 of them make it big, we make all our money back.
Yeah. And they also don't want to spend their time and their money actually developing an artist. They're not going to.
It depends which artist you are. If you're making them a ton of money, you're going to get a lot of resources. It's just like any other business. The thing is like record labels are always cast in this awful light, and the thing is like it's just business. It's the way it is. It's capitalistic America music industry. Like, what did you expect? Everyone to be, wow, I can't wait to do you a favor and just be so nice and never not get anything in it for myself. Sure, like you get people who want to help, no doubt, but like it is a business. It's a $1 billion business, and it's just like football. If you're underperforming, you're cut from the team. Goodbye. Some other team can have it. We've invested enough in you. Goodbye. And nobody seems to say, hey, the Cowboys are dickheads. But when record labels do it, and like, I mean, not to like defend them, but just to give a little dose of like relativity to it. Like, this is the game. I don't know what you expected. Not you, musicians. I don't know what musicians expected. But this is the name of the game. This is the game you signed up for. And sometimes we get pushback from artists who are like, well, I just want to like make music. I just want to enjoy it. And I'm like, fine, then sit at home and enjoy it. And don't complain that the industry is not working in your favor. If all you want to do is make fun music, that's awesome. But if you're in the game of trying to like promote it, you can bitch and complain about the rules to the game all you want. But the game is the game right now. That's something that pisses me off, I guess. Like just a bad, like, just kind of like, what did you expect? When that happens, that's when I get a little pissed.
How do the other platforms work? Because now I know that the leading one is Spotify, but what about the other ones?
The other ones at this point are essentially playing catch up. I mean, you didn't even see, it was so weird to think that iTunes was still a thing like a year or two ago, where they thought people were still going to go and pay money per song. And now iTunes isn't even up anymore. It's just Apple Music. So the other streaming platforms are very much playing catch up, but the platform, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Spotify, whatever, they're all using algorithms. And they're all using algorithms in the same way on a macro level to collect, organize, and use data to find value for their customers or their audience. So you have to put yourself in the mindset of the business. How do I play the game for the business? Because the business needs to benefit, not just you. So if you can make engaging content that Instagram says, this is great content, we're going to show it to more people who like Neumann mics. Because a lot of people who are engaging with this post are talking about Neumann mics, and they learn that quickly. So it very quickly will end up on explore pages for people who are talking about Neumann mics, because the algorithm is looking to give value to its users. And if it has 1,000 people that know are really into Neumann mics, and here we are talking about it, it will find it if you get enough engagement to like pique its interest. On a macro level, all of the platforms are analyzing data in the same macro way. Their recipes on how they come up with their decisions is different, but the algorithm is meant to collect, organize, and use data. The name of the game on Spotify is getting, or all of the music distribution platforms that operate on some sort of recommended for you, hey, check this out playlist. It's just generating enough information, because they don't share the information. So if you have a shit ton of followers on Apple Music and are trying to grow on Spotify, it doesn't like communicate. So you need to generate your own information on Spotify so that Spotify can learn who your listeners are.
Do you think a YouTube video, like a good music video, can help your streams?
Yeah, I think so. A music video is a great way to extend the overall life of like a campaign for a song. I'll say, like, if you have an EP with 5 songs on it and you put it out, and after 2 months of promoting it a little bit, you find that song number 3 is the one that's getting the most saves. Well, now you know which song you should probably do a music video for. And you can promote song number 3 a little bit leading into the music video and kind of extend the life with a different kind of content later on. I would say that as an up and coming artist, you only need one really good music video to start. I think anything after that is unnecessary, because they're a lot of money, they take a lot of time, and they're a lot of money to promote. And when you get people listening to it on YouTube, you don't directly monetize it until much later. And like, if you think the royalties are bad on Spotify, you should check out YouTube. So you only need one really good, well done, high quality video. You only need one to start. That's enough to show a venue that you take your shit seriously. Enough to show a featured artist that, look, I've got some good visuals. You only need one. You don't need 7. It's better to have one really good one than 6 okay ones, I think. I mean, people can debate that, but it's just tough to debate, to promote on YouTube, because there's so much content.
Yeah. And I think that nowadays YouTube it's used a lot for teachings, at least what I see, teachings and blogs, you know, the bloggers.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, definitely a huge, I mean, it's like the largest music listening audience in the world, I think, in terms of overall total streams. So like, you obviously can't ignore it, but in terms of like trying to take your career to the next level, or trying to like network and meet people who can help open doors for you, you don't need, because if someone important is going to sit down and talk with you, you're not going to have time to show them 10 music videos anyway. You only need one, and they just want to see that you took it serious and you invested in yourself, you've got a good craft, and that you have people listening to you. You don't need 10 videos to do that. If you have $100,000 in your back pocket, go for it. But like, if you're running on a tight budget, it's a lot cheaper to get an old song in the algorithm than it is to spend $5-6 grand on a music video and then spend another 2 on promoting it.
Yeah. Do you think that if you want to get like music placements and all that, Spotify can help you, and to get to the ears to music supervisors and all that?
Oh yeah. So eventually, an editorial playlist will work. Like, say, okay, the editorial playlist has 40 slots on it, and the editor he found 25 just on his own, and okay, cool. He's like, but I need 15 more. So he says, hey, algorithm, here's what my listeners tend to listen to in my playlist. I need 15 songs that fit this. What it'll do is it might give it a list of 50 songs that fit that description. And then the editor goes in and chooses 15 of them. So it's chosen by an editor, no doubt, but like a pool from which it's chosen was generated by an algorithm. Because there's no way an editor is sitting there and listening to 40,000 songs a day and saying, this one might fit here. Cool, I can't wait. That's not what's happening. There's not a team of people listening to these songs that, oh, wow, this one's good. We got a winner over here. That's not what's going on. It's a computer. And the computer doesn't necessarily listen to the song and say, wow, this sounds a lot like Mariah Carey, and this song did really well in Oklahoma. Let's put it over there. It's based on the engagement of people who are engaging with it right now.
Is there something that you want to promote?
Well, if any artist is interested in learning more of me rambling on about how to market on Spotify, we do have some free resources at denovoagency.com. We have an independent artist toolkit that has a bunch of cool resources and tips on how to market music online, and you can get that for free on our website. And check out the Business of Music podcast on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts.